All right, we're in. We are in. We are in. Let me say good evening to many of you tonight. And hope you're excited about this show. It's going to be one live show, as one would say, uh, as we wait on our helpers to come in tonight, different ones. And we're actually excited about it. Uh, Dr. Stevens has made his arrival, and he's here with us. Uh, certainly, we are happy to have him aboard. The interesting topic tonight. We missed y'all last week. We were working on some program last week, and we had this program straightened out, and we still are working with this program as normal. But we commence. Hey, Sister Cooks, all the way from Boat City. Good to have you online with us tonight. We've had some difficulties here, and yeah, but we're back on tonight with it. So we're moving forward with our backdrop, backgrounds, or whatever else you want to call it. We're here. Dr. Steve, good to have you back on tonight with us. We're waiting on Dr. Bard as well to make his interest, and certainly he will be in shortly. He was kind of excited about being last week, but when I called him and told him that we was having some difficulties, he was unable to get there. He was kind of like, okay, well, I guess we'll catch it this week. We'll get me some sleep, is what he said. So I'm looking for him to be on with us tonight and roll with us. So anyway, having you on board tonight, it's a real interesting topic here. What we're dealing with actually, okay, actually, yeah, there we go. Now we're there. We got the background back up there where it's supposed to be. Dr. Steve, what's going on, man?
Man, I'm just thankful and I'm happy to be here. It's good to see you. We see the improvement in the back, see some cameras and various things in the back. So we're excited about that. We're excited about the topic that we're about to express and expose and
Yeah,
elaborate on.
yeah.
So yeah. Many of the topics have been very interesting and intriguing.
Mhm.
And for those who are watching and those who may listen to it later, we would like for you to give your comments, and we want to address it. We would like to talk about it.
Right. Uh, we'd like to hear from you. Actually, you follow the tickle at the bottom. You can see we welcome you and your thoughts and your questions and your thoughts. You can call in live, um, and we'll be able to hear your question live. Our co-host is here. He's made his entrance tonight, and Dr. Bard.
Yeah, I see you doing something new, bro.
We can't hear you, man. You know you got to turn that mic up, baby.
Let's see.
Yeah, we got to give it turn that mic up.
I don't know what's up here.
She already on you, Doc. Dr. Bard, turn your mic up. It looks
I'm,
like he's stuck. No, he ain't stuck. You try to turn it up.
I,
There you go.
you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you good now.
Oh, okay. Well, I see you doing something new, bro.
Man, don't tell me nothing. It ain't nothing but money, honey. You got to help me out, honey.
This is Dr. Stevens' son,
he,
Sergeant of Arms.
he
Eh?
got the he got them
Get them
shades
shades
on. You
off,
see how you be
boy.
wearing them?
What? 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 Joe Biden's boy, it's on now.
You know,
Oh my goodness.
hey,
Oh my
you guys
goodness.
have been coming on with your football jerseys and your football football team hats. You know, some people like to wear their 49ers hat. Everybody's cool. So let me get my
Yeah.
cool.
Well,
Let
you,
me go
Yeah.
find my
boy,
cool.
Yeah.
you got it, boy. Shit, I'm ready for to go up, boy. What?
So, we welcome everyone tonight that's coming to us tonight. Our topic tonight, it's a very interesting topic, and I'm going to get ready to cut the ice on it so we can get off into it and deal with it. My position on this fathering a child that's not yours. I grew up in a home where my real father was not there. He was in my life the whole time, but he was not there during the time to keep peace. All the while, During the time of keeping peace, I was going without a father, not a father, but my biological father, due to some things that happened between him and the mother, the mom that carried me. Uh, but I will say that she did marry a man that was more than just a father figure. It was actually a true father. Some people grow up in the household with their father figure, and sometimes their last name changes to their father figure last name because they want the whole house to have the same name, especially if they shared kids together. If they shared kids together, then the other kids without that last name would feel like they are not a part of that family. With that being said, it moves that child to not know the real roots of his life or her life. Because it begins to be a family with the father figure rather the father. A lot of children, they speak out, but we don't listen as adults. We don't pay attention as adults. And the kid is wanting and longing for that missing father. Meanwhile, the father figure is doing everything to be a father to that particular child. And then the child grows up, and we pay attention to it. I don't know about you, but I've seen it happen where the child is in the household, the man taking care of the child, treating the child right, and treating him like he's his own child, but then the child gets in the way of reality. And well, not getting away, bring you back to reality. That I want my father. I want to know my father. And you put all out. You give all. You go into the realm. And when you do this, the child loves you. The child respects you. But at the end of the day, the father figure always winds up hurt, torn up on the inside because he's doing everything he can do to be a father to the child that's missing a father. But at the end of the day, the child shows you, I don't care how much you basically do for me, my father, my real father. So tonight I want to cover this topic uh, very deep, because we got some children out here that is hurting behind the absence of the real father, and the mothers have substitute the real father with an active father in the child's life. So let's dig into it, brother. Man, he done got the fold out. Good Lord. he, done, he done got the fold out. Oh Lord. So
No, no,
let's
I'm
dig
just I'm
into it.
just listening and trying to make sure that I have my have some things situated over here. But this is a very interesting topic. Um, it's interesting, and so much of it, as we peel those layers back, it'll hurt feelings.
Yeah,
It'll hurt feelings, but it could save lives
right. True. True.
because as you go into that rabbit hole, there are some other things that'll start coming out,
This is true.
and some things we must admit and we've got to acknowledge, such
True.
as paternity fraud. Paternity fraud. Um, why is it? Why is that? Why is that taken so lightly? Why is it so comical that it's mama's baby but daddy's maybe? Why is that so comical? Why is that comical? Why do we esteem and use as badges of honor various things that, number one, don't put us in a positive light? Why would we use it as a badge of honor?
Uh,
So, I mean, and it cannot be. And that's the last thing. Let me make my disclaimer real quick. Um, some of it is predicated upon that man and the system that was designed.
uh,
Some of it was based upon the system that was designed and how we yield to said system without thinking generationally.
right.
And now those chickens have come home to lay those eggs. Now those eggs are being laid. We got to
True.
deal with it now. We made decisions based upon what we wanted in the immediate, and we didn't think generationally, and now this is what we see. We
True.
didn't think generationally. We esteemed what should have been something that we should never have heralded. We should not have ever heralded that stuff.
So you're saying that a man should never get involved with a woman with children?
Now I'm gonna tell you this, and I will always seek to stand on this. If we did it God's way, this wouldn't be a concern.
This is
Let me finish. And I'm not gonna be long, so no one has to look at me in that tone of voice. Miss Cook, I don't. Hey, Miss Cook, I gotta let the chips fall where they may. Hey, listen. When you getting the stuff out the house, I don't want the debris to get in your eyes. You may want
yeah,
to wear shades or goggles. But if you where the debris is and it happens to get in anyone's eye, I'm not looking for you. I'm just trying to clean some stuff up.
yeah.
Not looking for you. And these things, this is so is such a peril. You said, should a man be a stepfather? Should this man be a stepfather? Should this man be a stepfather? I'm just gonna say that right there. And I don't think many people take into account the sacrifice, the toil, and that man basically puts himself in a position to live in a perpetual state of proving. I want to say
Wow.
it again. That man who is a stepfather, he sometimes lives in a perpetual state of proving biologically, which also deals with the the immaterial, invisible structure of that child. That man has to come and work intently to develop relationship.
Right.
He cannot rely on, boy, you act just like God, dog. Boy, he sounds just like me. Shut up. Be quiet. And you know he sounds just like you.
Right.
Now, and that's the difference, which means that part of that boy's nature
Right.
is not in alignment with that stepfather's nature, because even though we don't think it's important,
Right.
I know we come up with all of these silly cliches and colloquialisms to make stupidity sound as if it's profound, but it's not. It is about who plant the seed, and it is about who tends the harvest. Because
Right.
if you planted the seed, that's your harvest.
This is true.
It's your responsibility to get the weeds out so that seed and that plant can grow and flourish. But this
True.
is what we're having. We're saying it's not about who plants the seed, it's about the one that tends the harvest. But how do I know within nature? How are we going to substitute nature just because I'm extremely nurturing?
Right.
Because that stepfather, is some stepfathers that put in so much. They put in so much. They put in so much, man. And in some cases, And I'm gonna drive down the street, and whoever want to look at me in that tone of voice is all right. There was a time, and this is just my objective observation. This is simply my objective observation. I don't have a scripture for it, so don't look at me in that tone of voice. There used to be a time if that young lady, this is when I was younger, this is my dad's generation, my uncle's generation. If that lady had multiple kids and that man raised those kids like his own, and you can't tell the difference, there was a certain amount
Right.
of respect. There was a certain amount of respect that the mother gave him. I'm gonna say
Right.
that. I'm gonna place that there. There was a certain amount of respect that the mother gave him because the mother knew. I'm not talking about, well, you don't know me and me and done this. And you know he got wherever he lay his head is his home. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about him raising, giving his time, his effort, his energy, his problem solving skills, his instincts, his ability to protect. He's now I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna show you how we overlook and it is so dismissed. That stepfather has got to be willing to take a bullet for his wife and children that do not bear his nature.
Oh my. Now that's a deep one there.
And instead of him being appreciated, and I got some Bible for this. He that rules well is worthy of double honor.
That's the book.
Now, if he's a stepfather, those are not his children, and he's making sure that those children have everything they need. Because there's some stepfathers that have done it.
That's it.
He should be honored twice as much. But can I go here? Sometimes he's degraded twice as much. He's humiliated twice as much. He sits in isolation twice as much. That is the reality for many stepfathers. I know it's not you. I know it's not based upon you. I know it ain't ever happened to you. I know that's not you and your friends. I know that's not you and your relatives. I know it has nothing to do with you. I know that these things never happen, but it's some stepfather right now that's doing the very best he can to raise children who's not his, and they
Right.
are telling him repeatedly,
Yeah,
"You're
my
not my daddy."
bang. That right
And
there.
watch this. And the mother will tell him, "You should. It's a privilege. You should be honored to raise my children."
Ain't that crazy that?
And it's
That's
like,
crazy.
and
That's
now
crazy.
watch this.
And we coming
Let
to your
me
comments, Sister Cook. Sister Cook. We coming to your comments.
okay.
Oh,
And I don't and can I tell you why it is so frequently done? Because so many people don't know what empathy is when a man is involved.
wow.
Now, can I read Miss Cook's
Go ahead,
comment?
go ahead, go ahead.
Can
Read
I
that.
read it? Right, Dr. Stevens, I agree. The mother has to get the kid prepared before bringing a stepfather in and not demand the kid to respect him before he get to know them. Okay, now can I comment on this?
Yeah, yeah, work that.
Can I deal with this, Miss
Work
Cook?
that.
Um, uh, First, we're not talking about dating. We're not talking about dating. We ain't talking about dating. We're not talking about, you know, she's going through her applicants. That's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about the orbiters. By the time your son meets him, by the time your son meets him, you and him are solidified. And whatever that construct consists of, you have taken the lead because biologically, those are your kids. Biologically, you have a connection with those children's father. And I'm saying you because I'm breaking down the comment. That's all. So don't look at me in that tone of voice, people. Don't do me like that. That has to do with, first of all, you establishing where this child is with his biological father. You establish where that child is with his biological father, how the stepfather is going to be implemented, because the common denominator in this entire equation is you.
Wow.
The common
Wow.
denominator is you. You the one that don't have to develop a relationship with anyone. The
Right.
stepdaddy, boy, I'm telling you, I'm built for this. The stepdaddy got to build a relationship. The biological daddy has a distorted relationship. The child or the children don't have a synergistic interaction or fellowship because they're not all living in the same house.
Right.
So the common denominator is you.
Ah.
You. You have the connection with all of them. The biological daddy, the stepdaddy, and the child. So the question is, okay, when is this stepdaddy? Are we married? Am I engaged? What is our relational connection? Because I'm gonna have a conversation with the guy I had a baby with.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have that conversation with him before it ever gets to the proposal phase. If I see that's okay. See, we don't want to deal with that. We don't want to deal with that. See, but where am I? Stop. Where am I being irrational? Where am I being irrational? Tell me where it doesn't make sense. I'll fix it. It's some debris, but guess what? You got to get the junk out if you're gonna get if you're gonna want to live in a nice, suitable environment. You got to get the junk out. And the common denominator is her. She carried him. He has a biological father, and now the stepfather is seeking to marry the mother. The common denominator is her. So, what is her management system?
There you go.
Because
That's the heart of it.
what is her? Because I got to develop a relationship with this child.
She had to.
She has a relationship with this child,
Right.
and no matter how you try to flip it, that biology, that child is still going to want to know who his daddy is.
And you can't deter that. It is what it
It's,
is.
it's no you can try to finagle all sorts of ideas to dismiss nature, but your Bible says it first natural
Then it's spirit.
because that's what you see.
That's right.
I see my mama. That's natural.
That's right.
I see
What?
what has happened. We see this. Pastor Boy, I apologize. Good to see you, sir. Let me cut my mic off.
You gonna be back on in a few minutes because you know I like thinking fights. Amen. I'm waiting on that throwback on that couch. Let me say this,
Yeah.
and I cannot disagree with 90% of what you said, and looking at it from a frame of the situation or current conditions that can
Right.
play a vital role to those scenarios.
Right.
And there are various scenarios around this. Um, I didn't get the percentage. I was gonna Google it, but I didn't. But we know that there's a larger percent of, if we go ethnic or race wise,
Yeah.
black people with black or with blended families. Um, I have never known in my history. I can probably count on one hand where you had the ideal family, the father, the mother, and the father, and their children. I know one personally, but the rest of them is going to be blended families. And as you stated, is various challenge that comes with a blended family, personality wise, identity crisis, and I am not only grew up in a home without my biological father, with my stepfather who was not actually married to my mother, but 20 plus of his years in and out, majority was him. He pretty much dominant 20, 20 plus years of my life. Um, my grandfather had probably 10 years in there, but pretty dominantly, my stepfather, Arthur Smith, was pretty much the dominant male figure and was in a relationship with my mother. So growing up in a home like that um, is very difficult because nothing is stable. You starve for stability, um, and you wear shame because he was married and he was with my mother while being married. So while at times I'm honored to say I'm calling him daddy, at the same time, if just one more question, you're gonna see me by my head in shame because I can't say he's married to my father. All I can say is he helped raise me.
Hmm.
Um, and I have mad respect for him um, for stepping in like that. And perhaps without him, I wouldn't have had that. I wouldn't have had that after my grandfather had. So, you know, and I want to say this because we hard on blended family um, and survival. Um, when your stomach start touching your back, it's amazing
Who you? Who? It's amazing, ain't it? It's amazing, ain't it?
who you get with when
Yeah,
your survival
yeah.
start to play a major role. I'm not saying it's right, Dr. Stevens. Don't look at me with them glasses. I'm not saying it's right, but most of the time, most of us made that decision for the purpose of survival.
Mm.
And like you said, we was not thinking of the damage at all, what it can do. We just felt like doing it, we can make it right. And I've not only came up like that, but I am a father in a blended family. And I've twice. Uh, the first time after my second marriage, we were a blended family, and it was a major disaster. Um, and like you said, Dr. Steve, mainly because if your wife or whoever you're married to don't um, have that much respect for you, you're gonna have some problems with those kids. And
Yeah.
basically, I had a lot of problem with the kids because um, they were a tight knit family. Before I
Uh-huh.
came in, she made it their survival about them. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
me not
Yeah. When
knowing
they
about
make
that,
that family,
they
they
gonna
make
stick
their children
together.
that front line like that. You
Yeah,
are
they gonna hold the front line.
That's
But you
it.
don't
That's
see
it.
that right away until you see some issues starts to rise up.
Right.
And
Right.
and
Right.
I remember uh, me and her would get into some heated argument. And man, like a whistle in the hood, here they come.
Uh-huh.
And she had this about 6'2", dude about 300 pounds, you know. And I'm from the hood, man. I ain't size and all that didn't phase me.
Mm-hmm.
But I tried to give a young man to respect the fact because he had to play the man of the household like I did,
Right.
you know. So I ain't coming in there saying, I'm gonna, it's all about what I want and everything like that. I try to, you know, try to, you know, become
Bridge it
allies,
all together. Yeah.
work together. You know.
Right.
But however, his mother, and I do put her partly to blame in that. Um, he felt like he had the need to protect his mom, and so no matter what the fight and argument was over with, if she gets the argument stuff, I can almost see his shadow.
Wow.
Now, again, I'm saved. I love the Lord, but I ain't fit to be punked in my house by nobody.
Yes, sir. I
I told
understand
him.
your argument, sir.
I said to him, so I understand what you're doing. But right now, me and your mom is in a relationship. And I said now, if I do something wrong to your mom, I'm expecting you to do whatever you gotta do.
Exactly.
It's your mama. I ain't got no you gotta do what you gotta do.
Right.
But if I ain't hurting her,
Yeah.
I don't need you rising up,
Right.
you know, thinking you're gonna intimidate me. He didn't
Right.
say anything. He just looked at me and I said, okay. So I knew what that meant. And
Yeah.
one day when we had a disagreement, and this right before I got married, man, God was giving me so many signs, but dang, when you ain't in your right head and you trying to get it together, and that's why I want to make my first point. You know, it would be cool if you know all the ins and outs and you got yourself together, and then you go out to your family. Most of us didn't do that. Most of us tried to get the family and then get ourselves together, which
Right.
is the wrong way to do it. But
Right.
you feel like you need that help. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
She can help me get motivated. She can help me get
Right.
that drive. And and that's the worst mistake you can make because you put that person in the place of Christ, where you need to be around other men that can help cultivate that, get your identity.
Right.
Versus trying to do the right thing and make up for all the sins that you did, all the failed relationships you made in the past. So
Right.
the young man rose up against me. We and her got into it, and and I on to my back more than one time.
Yeah.
You know, he, she ran toward him and he grabbed me, and he had me in the headlock. We tussled a little bit, but I knew from that moment, Doctor Stevenson, he thought he had the advantage because I didn't retaliate. I gave him a pass because again, I seen the dynamics of what was going on. If she's going to him, if she's gonna run to him when she feels like her arm and break out, then he's gonna feel as a young man in a state to protect my mama.
That's right.
So I give him the pass. But I'm gonna tell you this because a lot of men live in that world where they feel like they can't do anything and they're afraid, you know, this gonna
Right.
lead to other episodes that come up if you
Right.
speak your piece.
Right.
Um, but that ain't me. I gave him all the opportunity. I exercised temperance, patience, and all that. And then one day, he wasn't working, laying on the floor. I asked him to do little chores around the house.
Hmm.
And he acted like I was talking to the wall because I sure wasn't talking to him. And I only brought that up because the first fight, that first altercation, he got the advantage. And every man that she been in her life, they was intimidated by her son. So I
Uh-huh.
understand he felt, again, he ain't ran nobody like me.
Right.
So one day I asked him to do something, he wouldn't do it. And he
Wow.
went in his room, closed the door, talking about what he ain't gonna do, got on his home, got on the car, and talking about he's sick or whatever. I said, hey man, I said, hey, if you can't abide by the rules in this house. I said, man, I got a quota here. You know, it's
Yeah.
two adults. And if you're not a husband nor a wife, I'm above my quota. And so you're gonna be grown. I'm gonna respect that, but you're gonna have to get outside that door and be,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. And boy, that boy blessed my heart. He told me he wasn't going nowhere.
That
Oh,
sounds about right. That's what they say.
yeah. And
Can
I
I
was
ask a question?
much obliged to respond, and I did not use words. When I got to showing him that I'm from the Cooper Road, nigga, and you play streets, but I've been in the streets, and you got a chance to see that. And then he got that. And I sat down and talked to the young man afterwards. I said, hey man, let me tell you something. I didn't get saved, and I did not change my life for me and them having to fight in my own house.
Yeah, I know that's right there.
I didn't do that.
I'm gonna
Me,
give.
me and
You
you
hear me?
getting into it like this here and stuff here, man, I'm losing. I ain't gaining nothing from you.
That's right.
I said, I'd rather fight with you than to
Then
fight
again,
against you.
you're right.
And I said, and I just want that, man. I'm saying, now, like I said, man, my heart don't pump no Kool-Aid. And you call the police, you see, I ain't scared of 'em. It's gonna
Yeah,
be
I
what
know
it's
that's
gonna
right
be.
there.
But I'm not fit to be pumped in my own house, man.
That's right
I'm
there.
not.
I agree with you on that one.
So,
Now,
after that, me and that young man got along, and I told him, I said, man, I said, now again, I'm gonna chew my back one more time, I'm gonna spit. Ain't got no problem with you protecting your mother because that's your mother.
Right.
And you don't know me like that. So you
Right.
don't know what I'm capable of doing.
Right.
But if we argue, the last person I need to see running in one of them arguments is you.
That's right.
Unless I do something physically to her.
And then,
Then I
okay.
expect you got to do all bets off. Because again, that's your mama. Because you want to know why? Because I got a mama. And when my stepfather jumped on my daddy, you can better believe he got the best of me, but he knew, hey, it's gonna be a.
Next time I
I
come here,
wasn't.
I better
I
be
wasn't going
ready.
to bed. I would have. No, I went to bed swollen because again, you gonna let it be known. You ain't gonna keep putting your hand on my mama. You
Right.
bigger than me or whatever. And see, when you have to grow
Right.
up in that type of home like that and everything, But that was the first, and so come on, Dr. Steve. I heard you had a question.
I want to ask, and it's going to be real quick. If that is the experience, and there are so many horrible experiences that that's unmentioned, and it takes small compartments like this. That's why what we're doing and what we're expressing is so paramount. These things are not going to be talked about. You're not going to talk about this on certain platforms
Right.
because it just makes more money when you're able to expose and express over and over that we're just no good. Just because you are a born male, you have an innate corruption. You're just horrible. You make the world horrible. The world would be so much better. It's because of you. Okay, we get that. Now, if a young man hears hear of these experiences and the probability of these things happening, why is it that young men are being shamed and degraded for not desiring to be a stepfather?
Well, and that question can be various because again, the stories like mine, where you got to fight, you know, you got to go in trying to fight, and that ain't what you trying to do. That ain't what you get. You ain't got into a relationship for all that, and I get that. And then it's a different world. You gotta understand. I'm old school, so again, there are certain values and certain things I grew up with that this
Right.
generation of men did not
I
have.
don't even understand what they
And,
keep up with that. I don't even understand they logic.
we're gonna difference in that.
They
Um,
killing the children. I don't.
they
It
all
doesn't
day
walk
long.
away. They'll kill the children and make the mother help them kill the children.
Yeah, so I don't this a whole nother segment on that part.
It is.
But let me say this though, that was the negative side. But I learned from that experience, and you know, it wasn't nothing. And let me say this to your point, Doctor Stevens. One thing men need to know: you can't start off wrong and then try to make it right. I'm
Boom.
gonna tell you.
That go the gun right there. That
And
go the gun.
you trying to make it right, and you know it started wrong, but you gonna fix it. You ain't gonna never fix how you start. It's how you finish.
How you
You know
finish?
what I'm
That's
saying?
number one.
And some of these guys, you get in there and you come in, and I done heard all kind of stories. One want that respect from them. These kids gonna respect me and all that. Man, you walk in there with all that wolf, and you inviting yourself into a fight. You
That's
know what I'm
right.
saying? And that's one thing. My stepfather, I got a stepfather. He married my mother. And I got mad respect for that dude, man. But you know what? He didn't come in my life, and he taught me how to really be wise as a stepfather.
Right.
Blended. Man, he didn't come in trying to change nothing.
Nothing.
We were grown. We didn't warm up to him right away. But you know what? He ain't try to talk to us or anything. He just been himself. Because at the end of the day, you got to accept me for who I am and
Right.
not what you want me to be.
Right.
You know, I'm not fit to be your daddy. I'm not trying to be all these other things. All I have, and me and my wife had this one thing today. All you will have is respect. My wife has been disrespected by my kids. I've been disrespected by one. Amen. And he wasn't even, that was indirect. That wasn't even toward me because of his mother. And I'm going to say this. I feel sorry for you who married these women and ain't got no control of the kid, and you
And then
think you
you
gonna
gonna
come
come
in
in
and
and eat
make
you
it right.
crazy?
You ain't gonna make nothing right. You gonna get your head split.
That's
That's
what's
just
gonna
the
happen
bottom
for
line.
you right there.
Because at the end of the day, especially when you're dealing with grown kids, these kids,
Right.
now if you catch them as Charlie, you're the daddy.
Right.
Period. Because that's the only male, that's the only daddy they know.
Right.
But when you come in that adolescent stage of their life, partner,
Yeah,
the
you gonna
best
hang
way
that up.
I can get my respect from my sons, the best way I can get my respect is loving their mother. Period. That's all I can get. And them young men got great respect for me. Great respect. You know, even if my wife will feel some type of way, they ain't fit to get involved. They
Yeah.
respect boundaries. They don't get involved. They don't give their opinion. They allow, and my wife don't, and me and my wife don't get them involved. Let me go ahead and say that. The reason why I like that because we don't get them involved. We
Right.
don't go telling them everything going on between us.
That's the
We
right. That's
keep
the
that.
first thing.
We keep that stuff
That's the
between
first
us.
thing.
But when you start involving them kids in grown folks stuff, then these,
Business. You
these
just
kids
got
don't
yourself
do
with yourself.
what they got to do in those situations because
Yeah,
you
you go.
invite them into it.
You
That's
brought
just
them
the
into
bottom
it.
line.
Now you gonna deal with it.
So now again, I'm blessed because I observed my wife without my presence, without no man, how she managed her kids, how they get they respect her. Because if she got that respect, if they give her the respect, then I know I will get that respect, even though I may not never be called daddy, even though
Right.
I'll never be looked up as their father.
Right.
They will. I will always be forever their mother's husband. A
Right.
lot of them now, again, one of my sons do look up to me like a father. And they are because I done put the work in. And let me
Right.
say that again. Let me say that again.
Gotta put the
Sometimes you
work
think
in.
you can come in a blended family and think you're gonna automatically, probably you're gonna have to make some work.
You gotta put some
You're gonna
damn
have to make
work.
some investment. You can't not come in and expect them to get you the same respect your own children would get. Cause like I said, even my own kids got with me when they got old enough. I knew that time was gonna come because I know how I am, and I knew that day would come. But when they got with me, I didn't disappoint
Right.
them. I
Yeah,
didn't
you had to
disappoint 'em.
go.
They didn't get disappointed, shoot. But blended families is a hard family, and like I said, and especially you gotta look at other things, and I'm gonna stop. You gotta look at the damage those kids been through before you came in the scene.
Right.
You know, you have to
Right.
look at those. You have to consider that factor, how much damage their father did,
Mhm.
and that abandonment. You
That's
have to
true.
take in a whole lot. That's why you need counseling. Going up and talking about what you gonna do when we get married, and your kid gonna respect. Man, you my world, boy. I'm
You
telling you.
might well go on get
Get you
somewhere.
two things. Get you a good lawyer and a gun. Because I'm telling you. You're gonna need one of them before it's over with. So but I appreciate this topic. It is personal for me, but I have grown from this, and you know, my heart goes out to men that are in families like y'all said that are they'll never get that respect from those kids because the mother won't let them. One of my pet peeves is you letting the kid daddy make all the decision. Now there's certain things I don't get involved with. This is a good point right here. There are certain decisions that I reserve between my wife and their fathers. Period. I don't get involved in that. What they get, long as they don't affect the dynamics and the government of my home,
Uh-huh.
I'm good with it. But the moment it starts to affect the way my home, then I'm involved in it.
Period.
As long as it's outside my home, I ain't in. Hey, I got an opinion, but I'm gonna keep it to myself because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, that's between y'all. Y'all need to work that out between
Y'all
each
gonna have to
other.
work that out.
Again, have to work that out. But
I,
all
I,
that, why he talking to you? He need to talk to me. I ain't with that. I ain't with that. I mean,
how
hey,
can how can we prevent a young man or an older man committing violence to the child as a response after the child has disrespect him or whatever, the guy? And I see Dr. Steve, and you said something quite interesting in the beginning of the show that it was written in the beginning, if we do it Jesus' way, then God's way, then it never would have happened. But then you find the factor of Jesus being born to a woman. And then Joseph had the father, Jesus. With that being put in perspective, that opens up the behavior for a man too, because I know in the book of Genesis it says for a man to not to even be with a woman, and the woman should remain a widow until the last child has left the nest. With that being said, we we're dealing with the Old Testament, and then we're dealing with the end of the Old Testament going into the New Testament. I believe a man can be a great father to a child that doesn't have a father. But I believe that it's gonna take certainly some strong work. And the mother gonna certainly have to be open and transparent to understand it, the man who is raising your son that you may believe that's a baby, but not even if he's not a baby. He's a man standing there looking at you in a child's body. And you and I and most men know that most young men, when they turn the age of 11, 10, 12, if you don't catch them then, by the time they come 12, 13, you won't break them. They are set in their ways. They won't adhere a man unless the man got his feet on their neck. And this is proven to be fact. So with the women, often allowing the child to be disrespected, it causes a man to deal with the child on a man scale. So with this being put in perspective now, how do we stop this behavior of a man dealing with a child, not looking at the child in that sense anymore, but as a man by the way he's running his mouth and the way his upper body strength is being presented to him?
well,
Now,
I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna let you come, Doctor, because I was long winded. I'm gonna say this. My business advice: get out of that situation. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing you can do.
Yeah.
You know,
Go.
um,
But what
because
if you married to the woman now?
you gonna have to go your separate ways. I
The
mean,
book
uh,
said, for better, for worse, for richer, for poor,
yeah,
to death,
I didn't
do
say
you
divorce.
part.
I didn't say divorce. I say separate. I didn't say divorce.
You're not supposed to be in separate beds with a woman, and
I
you
wouldn't.
married because that means
If
somebody
I
else gonna be in the
got to,
bed.
if your, if my involvement with my wife and my child and her child, or even if it's vice versa, and no one is addressing it, especially her, man, I'm not fit to live. What you gonna do? It's gonna lead to
You
violence.
know, it's over before it got started. To be honest with
It's gonna lead to violence. And if you didn't get this understood prior to coming into that marriage,
you. Right.
then you can't get in there and say, "Oh, I'm fit to start changing some things and doing something." All right, Dr. Steve,
You
I'm
got to
shut up
start with that. You got
because
to start with it.
I
Come on, Dr.
don't
Steve,
want.
we see you itching over there.
Come on.
We see, where your black phone at? You don't put the black phone.
Just try, hey, I'm just trying to keep some things charged. Um, first of all, let me use this as an example. Let's imagine a different social cultural structure.
Right.
Just imagine a small cultural social shift with an intergender dynamic. And with that shift, it would consist of, if you had a baby by him, you have to stay with him. If you had a baby by her, you gotta stay with her. How you guys do it, we don't know. What if that was a part of our cultural social paradigm and it was legislatively enforced? Now, what would the world look like? Can I
Wow.
tell you? Can I tell you what I think it would look like?
Tell us.
I really believe we will start thinking more futuristically, and our planning would change.
Right.
Our planning would change. There are so many kids, and we don't deal with it. We don't want to deal with it because everyone don't have the emotional capacity to see it and look at it in the face. So many kids are here, and many of those kids became adults, and some of those adults are older, and the parents didn't even want them here. I'm saying parents. I'm saying parents. See,
Right.
the parents didn't want them here. See, I'm accrediting him, even though he don't know that the baby's there at all. I gotta blame him so everybody can feel good. You get what I'm saying? I gotta blame him. See, so everybody can feel better and be all right with the world. Because
Uh-huh.
someone is gonna say, because the only person that knows she pregnant is her.
Boom.
See, sorry, not sorry. But if you're pregnant, you gotta be with him, and he's gotta be with her, and
Ah.
that's the law. What would I like? What would our society look like? You know what we'll start doing? I don't want no ice cream from him. Yeah, girl, he's fine, but he's a bum. He done whooped five of them other women already. I bet instead of it, I bet this is some good ice cream. Man, she fine. Yeah, man. You do know that she does this, and does. Oh man, I can't take the chance of our planning, or at least our betting would be different.
Right.
Because if she can imagine that the ice cream, it may be of a certain caliber, then she might be inclined. If he thinks that the ice cream is of a certain caliber, then he may be more inclined. But the law states, if y'all together now, hey, if y'all together, y'all produce a child, that's your man. That's your man. That's your man.
That's what the law gonna take.
Well, I'm just saying, in a different world, under a different construct, what would it look like? That's your man. That's your woman.
Mm-hmm.
See, I mean, it's not as if your genetic code is not in her. It's not as if your DNA is not in there. It's not as if life hasn't been replicated. Now, I mean, that's your woman. But
Good.
in a different world, under different paradigms, sometimes it's different. And one of the things we used to have, and so don't look at me in that tone of voice. This is just the church era I grew up in when I was a little boy. If you got pregnant out of wedlock, the church did not give you a baby shower. That was when I was little. That when
No,
I
sir.
now
They didn't give you
now
one. Talk about you bad till you get on the altar.
and now that was when I was a little boy. And but here is the thing. That was just something that was that was an expression that, hey, we want you to marry before you carry. That was all.
Right.
I
Right.
mean, and so many people are so disgruntled at the idea. How about we really seek to enforce and encourage brothers? Say, bro, hey, hey, don't have all these baby mamas.
Right.
If she is near you and she can hear you, if she's invested in the process of your progress, if she wants to be with you, if you want to be with her, and that passion is there, why not have a covenantal connection?
That's true.
Why not?
That's true.
But this is what we do, and these chickens come home to lay their eggs. We would say you shouldn't be in an exclusive relationship. Why are you considering covenantal connection? You so young, you don't even know what you want. You don't even know what you like, which only opens the door for more ice cream mismanagement.
Whoa. That's true.
But we don't want to deal with that. We don't want to deal with it because we have to look at ourselves in the face. And we don't like the way that looks because we've done so well at justifying. We've done so well at deflecting. We've done so well at shaming people for our shameful acts.
This is true.
I did that. And the sad thing is, it's mutual shame.
It is.
It's mutually wrong.
True.
You can't make one person more wrong. You can't do it.
Can't
The
do it.
only thing that is different, if a man don't know he's a father, he don't know.
That's true.
He don't know. He don't know.
No.
You have all of that power to conceal or reveal. You have, and we don't want to deal with it. I know brothers right now who were fathers and didn't know it. I
I
can
know a
call
lot
them.
of them that's fathers they
I
didn't
can
even
call
know.
them. Hold up. I can call brothers now that they were fathers and didn't know they were fathers.
Wow.
They didn't know. She didn't. So I'm going to be held accountable for what she didn't know. And the reason why I didn't know, because she had to make sure that she was identifying the right person.
Wow.
But we don't like to talk about it. You know,
No, we
we don't like
don't.
to talk about it.
Let's
Because
we
if you can have an abortion and not ever and never tell anybody, you don't like where the relationship is going, you have an abortion. It was that if you had a good time.
they got options now that they didn't have back
But
then.
when I was a kid, when I was a teenager, it was the Kappa Beach party. Now it was that time at the Kappa Beach party. It was that time when we went to the Caribbean. It was that, hey, we were just partying and having a good time at the frat party.
Yeah.
And that man don't ever have to know that you had an abortion. And there are
In and
some
out
that
for
may
you.
have had it. There are some that may have had it. There are some that may have had it. There are brothers who didn't know that they were fathers until one brother was not the father. That's why he didn't know all that time. I mean, it's that there has to be, and I'm saying this because it takes is mutual responsibility and mutual accountability. And you think that I'm saying something wrong? I'm not. You should have heard my aunt. My aunt when I was growing up and what she used to say. What my grandmothers used to say.
Yep.
You go, you do you? I mean, they would say stuff that would pierce you and cause you to think,
That's right.
like, "Hey, this is not something that should be applauded." But yet, we've used it as a badge of honor.
Yep.
You want to, and I remember my aunt, my grandmother. Oh no, I ain't watching your kids. You and him made them babies. You don't know where you don't
Y'all
know
gonna
where.
take care of too.
I'm not raising your kid. Well,
Nowadays, it's a whole different ball
in
game.
this, there were aunts, there were grandmothers, there were some grandmothers that was like that, and there were some grandmothers who raised those kids, and that grandmother was worn down, beat down, out of gas. She's 68 years old. She's 71 years old, trying to trace
When
this
I
5 year old, trying to trace this 7 year old, trying to trace this 11 year old, chase them emotions. She's tired. She's tired. And it's not because somebody's always working. It's not because somebody's working. I'm going to say it again. It's not because somebody's in school. It's because somebody got to live their life. Grandma, mama, you ain't doing nothing. Whether or not she's doing anything or not, that's her life, and those are your children.
right.
Those are your kids and his kids.
That's right. You didn't make
But
it.
we don't like the way that sounds. Because even when we go to church sometimes, it's these grandmothers that are overwhelmed.
And that's a good topic to deal with. Uh Men who are unwanted in their children's life. I think I'm gonna work on it next week. I think, in fact, I'm gonna make an announcement. We'll do that show next week. Listen, our time to next expired. We enjoyed this topic. Um,
Amen.
I really did. I really don't feel like we touched it enough because at the end of the day, I see too many children dying from the hands of their own father, let alone the father figure in the household, stacking up. And I'm watching men come under the pressure, trying to be a father to a child, and at the same time get insulted by it. And men need to know what to do and how to handle that. They are killing a child because the child don't understand. If you never teach them, can't learn nothing. If you kill him, he sure won't learn that. You gotta teach him. And you gotta do it with a mother who don't have the understanding of how to teach. So when you take on a ready-made family, you better be ready for the responsibility. Now that's our time because we got to get out of here. We want to thank Dr. Boyd for coming in and being with us on tonight, and Dr. Stevens, the masterpiece, the agitator who sat there and did his thing tonight. He always got the profound answer. He's gonna put the platform on the bottom line. And I want to thank every last one of you who came out to watch the show. Listen, tag, share, and like, and tell somebody. To come on Monday nights at 8 o'clock while we have men's roundtable. Women, you're invited. You may get hurt with the comments, but you're invited. Certainly, we want you to know that we're here, and there are men out here who are wanting to do right and have a good life with someone. So, listen, come back and be with us as we move forward. Again, we thank all of you that came out. We salute these men who come faithfully every Monday night and be with us. And we'll see you guys on the next broadcast.
All right. God bless you. All right,
Yes,
Stop Steven, Georgia, man.
Blessings
sure.
likewise. Enjoy it.